Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. To me, my understanding of this is when we understand that there is an injustice going on in the world, that we have an obligation to stand up and to assist those individuals who are fighting for their rights. That is one situation during the civil rights movement, that Dr. King broke laws because the laws were unjust laws. So it was an unjust law that black folks could not sit in the front of buses. It was an unjust law that black folks could not sit at lunch counters with white folks. It was an unjust law that black folks had to go into a different door to go into the doctor's office. So these injustices Dr. King spoke to were endemic in Southern culture and parts of Northern culture in our country, but it also spoke to other injustices that were going on around the world as well. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. We are locked together. In spite of the fact that we may not want to be locked together, we are intrinsically tied together. And it is beyond our ethnicity. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. We cannot stand by and see injustice or hurt or things that are just not lawful done to people and not react to them. They fit into that garment working together when more Jewish organizations will begin to take some vital lessons from the Jewish Council on Urban Affairs and working in communities where they are invited in and working and partnering with those community organizations, not directing, but helping them to reach the goals that they have set for themselves, helping them to fulfill the missions that they have for themselves to serve the clientele that they serve. I think that there must be a two-way street, and there must be the sense of reciprocity. I think that Jewish Council on Urban Affairs is a dynamic example of that. I think that Jewish clergy can do more in reaching out to African American clergy more than once a year at the anniversary of the birth of Reverend Martin Luther King. I think that we need to be more creative in looking at ways where we can do collective programming to affect the particular communities in which our houses of worship are located. So where you have a synagogue and a church in proximity to each other, I'm certain that collectively, if they bring their spiritual perspectives to a particular problem, that they might help alleviate some of the issues that are affecting children in their particular community. And it doesn't matter if the children are Jewish or Christian or Muslim or atheists. I think it's our responsibility as men and women of God to be responsible and to share that responsibility in helping our young people specifically. Today, we have situations where Jewish leadership and African American leadership, again, we're so far apart relative to where our communities are. In the city of Chicago today, the majority of the Jewish population lives in the North Shore, and the majority of African Americans live in the city proper. And there's just not enough cross-pollination. I was at a meeting a few months ago where a rabbi on 79th and Stony Island on the south side of the city, and the other rabbi that was at the meeting said, well, the only time I come this way is when I'm on the Skyway going to Michigan. Never had been through 79th Street and Stony Island Avenue. Yet his synagogue is in the city. So, and he said, that's not good. And he was right. He was right. So one of the pastors that was at the meeting said, it would do us good when we're talking about shootings that are going on in our community to have rabbis from the city standing with us, bringing even more attention to the plight that many African American communities are going through, that the pastors in these churches are dealing with on a much more frequent basis than the average rabbi has to deal with. So I think that moral support and also support in saying, are there issues that we need to, as Jews, as Jewish clergy, can we assist you in bringing more pressure on the political leadership with a particular issue? And I think that that says an awful lot when you want to address something going on in the city and you have rabbis and Christian clergy and Catholic clergy and clergy from the Muslim community standing together behind that particular community that is trying to address an issue that they're facing. Because ultimately it goes back to these sayings. What affects me is ultimately going to affect you. It may not affect you today, and it may not necessarily affect you in the manner that it affected me, but it's going to impact you. One way or another, it's going to impact you.